Hello. Fire outbreak is becoming a recurring decimal in parts of the country, and we are taking you on that in today's edition of Weekend File. Good evening and welcome to the program. Now, fire outbreak is one of the menacing natural and in most instances human-caused disasters globally, and Nigeria has had its fair share of this monster for decades. In the past 10 months alone, the nation has recorded fire outbreaks of different dimensions, but can be said to be more rampant in marketplaces, resulting in loss of lives and property with adverse economic effects on the victims. It will be recalled that in October last year, more than 300 persons were rendered homeless in Yenagoa after fire gutted a neighborhood market in the Ekeki market. Same was for a Funtua market in Katsina, popular Nkwongwa market in Aba, the Binukomo market in Lagos, and the Kano State market. Few weeks ago in Anambra State, more than 50 corpses were burnt beyond recognition when a mortuary was gutted by fire. These are few of such fire outbreaks in recent past across the nation. Our program tonight investigates the causes of the rampant fire outbreaks in the country, especially in marketplaces. Now, how equipped are the nation's firefighting agencies and their response to distress calls? Are there any kind of fire protection engineering needed to curb the menace of fire outbreaks? These and more questions will be asked when we talk to the Deputy Comptroller, Momo Braimo, Commanding Officer, Operations, Federal Fire Service, Abuja, who is our guest today. My name is Kirian Umayo, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Weekend File, one-stop shop for broader views on national issues. Thank you for joining us, and the news is first. Now, for the news, we have the support for the president as the campaigns, gets on the way. And with the campaign rallies taking place in parts of the country, the one that will be most interesting is what happened in Jos. From Adamu Sambo's report, we got to know that it is the season of campaign rallies, and tonight we begin from Jos, the Plateau State capital, where a show of immense love and massive support for President Muhammadu Buhari was displayed by the people. And State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that it was a Herculean task for law enforcement agencies to control the crowd that converged on Jos, the Plateau State capital, to renew their allegiance to the governing APC and declare support for the re-election bid of President Muhammadu Buhari and Governor Simon Lalong.
The show of love for President Muhammadu Buhari in Jos by the people of Plateau State has always been massive anytime he pays a visit. But the passion with which such love was demonstrated this time around was not only instructive, but indeed a statement delivered as to where their hope and allegiance lie. President Muhammadu Buhari is here in the home of peace at the head of the APC presidential campaign team to make a strong case for his re-election. Getting to Rwangpang Stadium, venue of the campaign rally by the presidential motorcade was, however, difficult because of the innumerable numbers in the welcoming party. President Buhari eventually got to the stadium, but the place was completely overrun by a sea of humanity made up of his aesthetic supporters. So much was the tumult that the Nigerian leader could not deliver his address, but received some illustrious Plateau citizens who defected from other political parties. The president waited for about 1 hour for the melee to recede but rather it continued to increase in tempo and fervor. He therefore waved the appreciative crowd and left the venue. In a statement shortly after, President Buhari thanked Plateau people for their steadfastness and continued demonstration of faith in his administration. He, however, sued for greater restraint, saying campaign programs must be allowed to run as planned, since it is also an opportunity for him to give a stewardship report. President Buhari had earlier paid a courtesy visit to the Plateau State Council of Traditional Rulers, led by the Bongbonjos, Jacob Gang Buba, at his palace. He urged the royal fathers to work towards maintaining peace in their domains as prerequisite for any meaningful development.
I'm appealing to you to maintain contact with those who influence the young people outside. We are trying to prepare the future of the country for them and let them behave themselves.
I want to assure you there is now peace in the state. We are coming at an appropriate time where peace is being maintained and restored in Plateau State.
As fathers of the land, we want to assure Mr. President that we will do our best to talk to our people to maintain the peace.
Campaign visits resume on Monday as the president promised to be at all parts of the country before the 14th of next month. In Jos, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Now, away from politics, Baro Port, located in Agai local government area of Niger State, is now active and ready to commence operation. This follows the inauguration of the port by President Muhammadu Buhari. Musa Babalu reports that the present administration completed the project, which was abandoned by the PDP administration for some years.
The idea of the dredging of Lower River Niger is not actually the idea of PDP administration, but that of President Muhammadu Buhari when he was the chairman of Petroleum Trust Fund. He developed the master plan for the development of national inland waterways covering more than 7,000 square meters, and Baro Port is one of them.
And that study came out with very, very important silent points. One, that we needed to dredge the River Niger and the River Benue for the purposes of inland waterways and navigation. And for several years, nobody did anything about it.
The port economists believe that is strategic and desired by most Nigerians, especially those transporting goods between the north and southern parts of the country. The project, which includes the dredging of the river, is not only completed, but also ready for navigation and shipment of goods and services. President Muhammadu Buhari said his administration completed the project with a view to making the movement of goods and people from the sea to the hinterland seamless.
We will try and do this project properly, do the dredging, build the infrastructure to connect the port now with Abuja with double carriageway. Now imagine the amount of opportunities this will open for Niger State and the rest of the country.
The port is equipped with a mobile harbor crane, transit shed, administrative block, and expected to create more than 2,000 jobs.
Baro is part of our Central Line scheme. Central Line begins from Abuja and terminates at Warri. So it passes through Baro. All that we've been able to put that together. But you must know that funding is an essential element of those projects you've talked about. And they're just not there. You must have that at the back of your mind.
I figure in the next few months or years, we'll experience inflow of investors coming to own assets or properties around here for business purposes. But before that happens, I think we should have like a proper developmental master plan so that whatever you do will be in line with what the master plan.
The railway line linking the port to Kano and northeastern states will be upgraded by the federal government. From Baro in Niger State, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And shortly after the inauguration of the Baro port, the APC campaign train moved to Minna, Niger State, where President Muhammadu Buhari says re-electing the All Progressives Congress to power in the forthcoming polls is the surest path in the realization of Nigeria's enormous potential for greatness. At the presidential campaign rally in Minna, Niger State, the president says with solid foundation led through the change agenda, it is only expedient for the people to jealously guard their future by keying into the next level crusade. State House correspondent Adam Sambo was there.
It was a massive turnout by the Nigerians at the Trade Fair Complex Minna as the presidential campaign train of the governing APC arrived for one and only reason, soliciting public support for the re-election of the party's candidates in the forthcoming elections. President Muhammadu Buhari thanked the people of the state for always believing in his leadership and keeping faith with the APC. The president, who had inaugurated Baro Port, a key economic venture in the state, maintained that his administration has indeed delivered on his promises to the power state. He enumerated several rail, roads and dams projects now ongoing either within or linking the state with other parts of the country. President Buhari therefore told the people that a victory for the APC is a victory for sustainable development.
APC suck! APC suck! APC suck! Allah tabbatar mana da alheri.
Governor Abubakar Sani Bello said Nigerians cannot appreciate President Buhari enough for the enhanced federal presence across the state, but assured him that the people will adequately reciprocate by massively voting for the renewal of his mandate. For the national chairman of the party, Adams Oshomole, it is an expression of confidence that the APC does not need to rig election to retain power, as been insinuated in some quarters, saying the change agenda has indeed changed Nigeria for the better.
The future of Nigeria is not in the hands of retired generals. It is not in the hands of retired heads of state. It is in the hands of retired people whose future is at stake. And if I may ask the question, what do these old men think that tomorrow belongs to them? Yesterday belongs to them. Tomorrow belongs to the people. And you are the people. Together we will stand and defend the vote and return Buhari to power.
The party's national chairman later presented flags to the standard bearers of the party for the governorship and senatorial elections. President Muhammadu Buhari had earlier engaged prominent traditional rulers in the state, where he berated the previous governments in the country for abandoning projects and programs critical to the future of the country. This, he said, clearly indicated limited appreciation of the past leadership of what Nigeria desires for a sustainable future, and urged the royal fathers to properly guide their followers to vote wisely in the forthcoming elections. The Esu Nupe and chairman, Niger State Council of Chiefs, Alhaji Yahya Abubakar, commended President Buhari for making governors more responsive, responsible and functional, praying God to continue to guide and protect him in his genuine efforts at transforming the country.
You have committed yourself in totality to serve humanity, to serve Nigeria. Stepping into another term, inshallah. Next 4 years or so, if you continue these activities, we pray much Allah.
The monarchs presented special gifts to the president in appreciation of his commitment to the development of the power state and Nigeria. In Minna, Niger State, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, in continuation of his door-to-door campaign for the APC to emerge victorious in the forthcoming general elections, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was in Ikare, Ondo State to synergize with the voting public. Abuja Oladepo reports.
The Vice President and his entourage were welcomed to Ikare by chiefing supporters of the All Progressives Congress, led by the State Governor, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. Into the waiting ends of the traditional rulers, Professor Yemi Osinbajo promised to fix some of the dilapidated infrastructures in Akoko. The traditional council, led by the Olukare of Ikare, told the Vice President to make the people in the Ondo North Senatorial District to feel the presence of the federal government more than before now.
There are other things like job creation. There are a lot of people on the street looking for jobs. So we want something like that. If the government can do something in respect of that.
Considering the enormous challenges in the area, Professor Oshibajo promised to revisit the area for more on-the-spot assessment of the social infrastructures. From Ikare, Abiodun Ladepo, NTA News.
And women are not left out in the electioneering campaigns, and the leader of the presidential campaign team for women and youths and wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, has tasked women and youths in Nigeria, particularly in the southwest, to ensure victory for the ruling party in the forthcoming presidential election. Wife of the president made the call at the Southwest Women and Youths Presidential Rally held at the Obafemi Awolowo Stadium, Ibadan. Ayomiku Ajibola reports.
They are women and youths of the southwestern parts of the country who converged on the Liberty Stadium, Ibadan, for a purpose, the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari for another 4-year term. And so they came out to receive the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari. Wife of the president, who was represented by the wife of the vice president, explained that she was encouraged to drum support for the APC because of the various social intervention programs initiated by the Buhari-led administration. She assured that APC will consolidate the achievement recorded in the last 4 years if given the mandate for another 4 years. Other party stalwarts, including the wife of Oyo State Governor, assured the wife of the president of their commitment to mobilize women and youths from the southwest to vote for President Buhari.
The ever-grateful target of today's event will give their maximum support to the re-election bid of the president. You should go back home and mobilize your families to re-elect our president. Go and collect your PPC now.
We are preserved to give PIV Oshibajo 10 million votes from the southwest.
Different side attraction at the rally, all drum support for the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari in Ibadan. Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
The presidency has reacted to an allegation by the coalition of united political parties concerning an alleged plan to arrest the Chief Justice of Nigeria and frame 3 other Supreme Court justices. A statement signed by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, says the story is absolutely false, as the presidency is not in any way involved in plotting against or framing anybody. It notes that the findings of the Code of Conduct Bureau against the Chief Justice of Nigeria and the allegations arising from them are being handled by the courts in the democratic way, and the presidency has not and will certainly not interfere in the process. The Buhari administration is very firmly committed to the fight against corruption and assures the general public that government will always pursue its mission with the highest standards of fairness and in strict compliance with the relevant laws. Some experts say negligence is one of the causes of fire outbreaks that can be differentiated from human error by the fact that such incidents are ignited by proper procedures not being adhered to, as some people undertake activities known to be potential fire hazards. Stay with us for details on tonight's edition of Weekend File. Topic: fire outbreaks in Nigeria. Up ahead, correspondent's report. And thank you for staying with us. Cases of fire outbreak across the country in recent times have become alarming, raising concerns among the public. Several cases of fire outbreak with attendant loss of lives and property worth millions of naira are traceable to several causative factors, as Mitari Ben tells us in this background report.
From filling stations to markets and residential buildings, the persisting dry season has witnessed tales of woe resulting from fire outbreaks in some parts of the country. In some cases, victims watch helplessly and in shock as their valuables are gutted by fire.
We combine together and store the beans, and it's more than 5 million.
We try our best to pack some, but a lot of things have been burned.
Not even the mortuary is spared, as witnessed some weeks back in Enugu General Hospital in Anambra State. Statistics obtained from the Federal Fire Service indicate that there were about 500 cases of fire incidents in the country in 2018 alone. Apart from cases caused by suspected illegal storage of highly inflammable substances, most of the incidences are attributed to careless handling of electrical appliances and, in some cases, high voltage from electricity companies.
The people will leave market without switching off their electrical appliances. Probably the period they left, there was no light. By the time you release the light, electricity, it will come with a surge that will burn one appliance or the other. So such happen in the market.
While the Federal Fire Service has spread its presence across the country, that is not without some shortcomings.
Most of our challenges is finance. Of 2016, we procure 23 firefighting engines, 15 water tankers, and some operational vehicles. 2018, we as well, procure 21.
In the meantime, Nigerians are advised to be safety conscious in all they do. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikwen, NTA News.
And cases of fire incidents have been on the increase in Lagos State lately, which demands prompt emergency responses from relevant agencies, with a number of distress calls on daily basis. Dutu Oguyemi takes a look at how the agencies have been able to cope with the expectations of quick response to emergencies in the mega city.
Scenes like this abound. Indeed, the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency's Response Unit says it receives over thousands of calls daily of fire outbreaks, including other emergencies. Statistics by the Lagos State Fire Service reveals that 1,279 fire calls were received in 2018, including 250 rescues, 11 collapsed buildings, and 161 false calls. With over 600 firemen and 16 fire stations spread across the state,
the government provided all it requires for the firemen to be productive and to be effective. And that is why you see, if immediately there is fire outbreak, the firemen will turn out and go and make sure the situation is under control.
On its part, the Federal Fire Service says it is equipped with fire engines. This particular truck was among the 23 acquired in 2018, with power bikes equipped with firefighting accessories for quick navigation.
We are having a lot of challenges, most especially when we have a trailer park everywhere, especially when we want to turn out to Apapa.
Incidences like the Otedola Bridge fire, Abule fire due to vandalized pipelines, and a gas plant fire are reminders of the devastation in 2018. While 3 cases have already been recorded in the first week of January at Ogba Factory on the 4th of January, a dump site along Ahmadu Bello Way on 8th of January, as the state government continues to encourage residents to use the 767 and 112 emergency lines, provision of water hydrants like this one at the new Tejuosho market is critical to avoid fire incidences, the like of which engulfed the complex in 2007. In Lagos, Dotun Oguyemi, NTA News.
20 fire outbreaks have been recorded in Baro in the early part of 2019, most of them attributed to a careless attitude of residents and arson perpetrated by miscreants. In this report, Shola Wahid examines strategies to check the trend.
The hinterland of Baro City is noted for its cluster and closely built structures, which becomes a challenge in the event of unforeseen circumstances such as fire outbreak. Since a fire disaster that occurred recently at various locations in Ibadan metropolis is a case at hand where over 30 shops and residential buildings were gutted, leaving residents and business owners counting their losses in deep sorrow and attendant emotional tolls.
I had to go inside, go and start our generator because there was no light, to pump water into our tank. And people came out to draw water to quench the fire.
The government has sunk a reliable industrial borehole for us to fight against shortage of water supply. And majority of our fire appliances have been serviced and reliably ready for any emergency situation. There is no access or proximity to the seat of fire, but we make use of our length of hose.
Residents are advised to be fire cautious this dry season, especially in areas where houses are closely built. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
You are watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. Now, we'll take a short break now. When we come back, we will move into the conversation segment of the program. And our guest tonight is going to be Momo Brimo. He's of the Federal Fire Service. Stay with us.
Candidates, a presidential town hall co-production between Daria Media and NTA, supported by the MacArthur Foundation. Kingsley Mogalu and running mate Omar Getso of the Young Progressive Party, Muhammadu Buhari and running mate Yemi Osinbajo of the All Progressives Congress, Omoyele Sowore and running mate Rabiu Ahmed Rufai of the African Action Congress, Atiku Abubakar and running mate Peter Obi of the People's Democratic Party. Moderator, Kadri Ahmed. Next town hall, Wednesday, 23rd January, with Omoyele Sowore and running mate Rabiu Ahmed Rufai of the African Action Congress. Town hall venue, Sheraton Hotel, Abuja, from 7 to 9 p.m. The candidates will be broadcast live on NTA and other partner TV and radio stations, as well as streamed online on NTA and DTV.media. If you're over 18 and want to be part of the audience, apply online at daria.media or use the hashtag NGTheCandidates or participate online using the hashtag NGTheCandidates.
And joining me now in the studio to discuss the issue of tackling seasonal fire outbreaks in Nigeria is our guest, Deputy Controller, Commanding Officer Operations, Federal Fire Service here in Abuja, Momo Brimo. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Brimo.
Thank you very much.
Now we'll begin by asking you to give us an update on fire outbreaks in Nigeria, perhaps within the last 6 months.
Yes, within the last 6 months, you classify it as a season of the dry season, especially during the dry season, which we count to be most especially the Harmattan season. That is when some factors actually do responsible for frequent causes of fire. But if you are talking of frequent fire outbreak, it has to be broken down into 4 main categories. Like you are talking of carelessness, then you talk of willful act, you talk of accident, then you talk of the nature, that is the act of God. But the one that is so much frequent in this country today can be classified under the heading of accident and carelessness, because when you talk of the electricity, the electrical problem we have today, that is electrical surge, that where majority of the fire emanated from, like you do talk of 90% of fire outbreak we have in the country today do come from the electrical aspect of it. Then you still talk of that, the atmospheric current charge, which is the static electricity. But people do put this behind themselves without paying much recognition to it. And this is the area that affect mostly the oil and gas. Because, yes, we are talking of fire. All fires start the same way, but they are not alike. The fire that may start in the area of oil and gas will be different from that of the hospitality home, which is the hotels. And it will be different from that of the market fire, as well as the learning institutions like the schools. Yes, but you see, during the Hamatans, there are awareness that used to be on as get your environment cut low of the grasses, clear around your buildings. But you see, people don't tend to recognize with fire service about this awareness. Yes, because day in, day out, our men are always there to pass across the message. Yes, this is the areas of the less emergency area, which is the PROI. It is their daily duty of sensitization. Go out to the public, reach the public, go to the marketplaces, enlighten them of what to do. But still, negligence is always the order of the day.
Now that we mentioned the sensitization, it would be interesting for us also to know whether there's a synergy between the Federal Fire Service and state fire services, because we understand that we have state fire service and Federal Fire Service. Do you have any kind of synergy, to exchange ideas on how to go about this sensitization? Because most of the fire outbreaks are from states.
Good. I will tell you that the synergy is there. The synergy is there, but there is an adage which says you can take a horse to the stream, but it is up to that up to the horse to take the water, either to leave. The sensitization is there, the synergy is there, but the fact is that at federal level, depends the way, depends the authority handling such matter. Like the authority at the federal level, the man is a man of no nonsense. He holds on to everybody to make sure you must do your duty. And this is why in the present dispensation, he tried to now penetrate into other states.
Now, but another question is how effective, is this a sensitization? We will get to that.
Yeah.
But for now, I'd like you to speak to the fact that a majority of the fire outbreaks recorded there, they came from the markets, huge markets. Markets have been there for decades, because people believe that such markets will have some preventive measures. And we understand that in some cases, some people are known to have stored combustible and flammable materials in those markets. So if you have been doing sensitization, how has it impacted on the traders and those who make use of the markets?
Okay. Yes, a lot of solution has been profiled since ages. Solution as people must close before 6 o'clock, put off all the electricity, and sometimes everything about the electrical distance be channeled to one source, of which once everybody is going out of the market, they put it off. But it's not too easy, in the sense that what the government is fighting most in the country today is security. Insecurity matters. Yes, the market is a vulnerable area. It's a highly vulnerable area to the hoodlums. Sometimes they will have that tension to go into the market to cause problem and loot. Most especially, you will take note that such market fire in most cases do start at night. Yes. Is it ordinary? No. In most cases, they will go in there, set things on fire. It becomes a difficult thing to tackle. Where the expertise, the firemen, the professionals came in to do their work, in most cases, we face attack before the armed security men will come to our aid. Several times. That is why in most cases, fire truck of not more than 6 months may just turn racketies because of stoning, attack, and so on and so forth. They were so bad at everything and so on.
What you're saying, Mr. Brimo, is
yes,
that in some cases, people deliberately
start the willful act
to loot,
which is true, because by the time we are fighting fire, we don't know who is who. And definitely, as other people are in there packing their things out to the safe position, others will be busy looting. And you see, will you talk of the strength of the security, the police or the civil defense? Yes, they are equally doing their best. Because you can talk of a very large market where you see you don't even know who is who. Everybody you see everywhere will be lousy. Yes, at the end of the day, investigation will be carried out.
Okay, but let me ask you this, because most of the markets in Nigeria, especially the major ones, they have market associations, they have leadership, in every market. Is there any way you relate with such associations, to ensure that at least the traders will adhere to some of the instructions you are giving with respect to, preventing fire outbreak?
That is exactly what I earlier told you, that you can force a horse to the stream, but not to drink water. You see, on a daily basis, our men are out for that. That's sensitization. We tell them, do this, do that, this is what you must do. First of all, when we are talking of access, in case it happens, that is why disaster, if you must talk of disaster gives birth to what? Preparedness. That is the reason why I am in this job today. Yes, the country, the government know that one day when this thing must happen, therefore such an institution was established and is on, effected. Then you talk of from preparedness, you graduate to the level of prevention. You must prevent. That is the sensitization there. From prevention, then you talk of mitigation. Yes, it will one day occur, but how do you reduce the impact? That is the destructive aspect of it. Then if it must happen at all costs, how do you control? That is why you see the primary equipment, the hard equipment there. In case it happens, you see the truck move out, and so on and so we move out the necessary equipment to bring it under control.
But let me ask you this. Now, what is your capacity at the federal level in terms of equipment and the other infrastructure required? Because I had been privileged to talk to one of you perhaps a couple of years ago.
Okay.
We were telling me the number of points or strategic places where fire service should be located in Abuja. He mentioned over 20 or thereabouts. So in that respect, are you satisfied with the kind of equipment you're working with at the moment?
Very, very. Because if you talk of equipment, today, Federal Fire Service can boast of 70% equipment, despite the fact that whenever you talk of any organization at all, we talk of underfund, we know just definitely that the fund is not still too enough, because Oliver must continue to ask for more.
Yes.
But I am telling you today that the government of the day is up and doing. Today we have equipment. Our CG does not rest. The present Controller General now, he purchased sophisticated equipment whereby no matter the gravity of that fire, we must overcome it.
And you know that
the capacity of fire engines we have now are up to.
Sophisticated equipment also goes with sophisticated training, and you have men to man such a sophisticated equipment.
In fact, do you know that the institution right now, the Fire Academy, has even been graduated higher in affiliation with the National Defense, Nigeria Defense Academy. Yes.
Okay, now let's talk about the states now, because that's where that's where the main issue is, the state fire agencies or fire services. Now, how would you rate them in terms of equipment and infrastructure to fire? Because all the fires we're talking about, most of them are from states. So how do they what's the assessment of what they have? Whether they have the same capacity that you're talking about here in the federal?
Some of the states are up to the level, but
But why is it that
but it's left for their government.
Most fires bring about destruction, uncontrollable destruction each time it happens?
If you talk of uncontrollable destruction, we are talking of proximity. You can imagine a state that only have 6 fire stations. What do you talk of such? And the fire that will happen will be of a distance of about 10 kilometers or thereabout. It waits for no one. When it happens, this truck has to travel some kilometers away to meet up. Then what do you expect? Ever before getting there, the FNO must have gained ground. That is why we talk of first aid firefighting equipment and compliance. Look, the entire institution must comply with, the nation must comply with fire safety code, because the fire safety code is there to make.
And in the marketplaces, is not adhered to? Because you say you sensitize, people don't adhere to that?
Where? Like you are talking of the market, you cannot blame the market 100%. Why do I say this? Even if it happens in the afternoon, because the area of electrical power surge is not ruled out. Yes. Then, you see, there are people, no matter how you talk to them, no matter how you sensitize them, they still embark on illegal connection. Just to save cost, not knowing that that is when they are even inviting much destruction to themselves. On a daily basis, we don't sleep. Look, for 24 hours, our men are outside there. Why do I measure 24 hours? We don't greet good afternoon and we don't greet good evening. That is why our basic language in the institution is morning, sir. Because we are always there for 24 hours. So the operational men, and once you go there now, you see them. By daybreak, the PROI, that is Policy, Regulatory, and Inspectorate. And that institution is comprising of enforcement, Plan Examination Division, and the fire prevention to the core. But still, what do you expect of a man? That is why, even once we go, we do tell them, do this, do that, to prevent this, so that this will not occur. Okay. And the moment you turn back, some laugh at you. Okay, right. Now you go to many marketplaces. Let me just chip this
for a second, please.
Okay, you go to many marketplaces, you cannot even find a fire hydrant, head overhead water tank or underground water tank, where you can easily get adequate water supply. Should it happen?
All right, thank you. I think you have already painted the scenario so well that the Nigerians now understand what you're talking about. And at this point, I'd like to thank you for sharing your thoughts. I can see the energy in you, and I'm sure you deploy such energy during the fighting of fire.
God bless you.
Thank you so much indeed, Deputy Controller, Commanding Officer, Operations, Federal Fire Service, Abuja, Momo Brahimo. Thank you very much indeed.
Good.
All right, now you're still watching Weekend File. Let's take a short break now. We will come back and conclude tonight's edition of the program. Now, just reaching us, the All Progressive Congress APC Presidential Campaign Council has given reasons for the absence of President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential debate organized by the Nigerian Election Debate Group and the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BORN, which held earlier today, Saturday, January 19th. A statement by the Director, Strategic Communications, APC Presidential Campaign Council, Festus Keyamo, says President Buhari and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo had taken full advantage of different opportunities, including town hall meetings organized by other groups, and responded to various questions from a cross-section of Nigerians. The statement says the president holds the debates in high esteem and thanks the organizers for the invitation. Now we'll take you on sports. Well, and that concludes our program for today. Do join us again next week, Saturday, when we return with a fresh edition of Weekend File. On behalf of the operational crew for tonight, I am Kirian Umaya, thanking you again for watching. See you again next Saturday.